money, fame, and power. The top 3 priorities of the generations around us. You think in your head, if I just conquer one of these, the other 2 will come naturally? I mean, at least it did for Kim Kardashian, right? And the only way to get one of these 3 ideas, from my opinion, would be starting with a job. Money, fame, and power, right? How are you supposed to become a billionaire when all you receive is $7.25 an hour? It would be above poverty, and there wouldn't be a beneficial outcome from raising that minimum wage. So when asked the question, should the current legal minimum wage be raised, my initial instinct was yes. Until I really thought about it. I believe the minimum wage should not be increased. No, I know I sound like the basic Disney movie villain, but there's not as many benefits of raising the minimum wage as one may think. I mean, it sounds great. People who are not making enough money working full-time will have more money to provide for themselves and their families, which might be true for a little while. And maybe that extra money might go back into the economy. But minimum wage, whatever the amount, is still the lowest anyone can legally be paid. Increasing it, it still means you're on the bottom rung of that ladder. It just means that rung is a little bit higher. When it comes down to raising the minimum wage, the only people that might be benefiting are teenagers. We don't work full-time, like the poor that are trying to stay alive off of that little income. Once the government raises the minimum wage, businesses, both large and small, will have to cut jobs, hours, and possibly the pay of workers making more than the minimum. As rich and powerful as these businesses may seem, they're not made of money, but they still like making a bunch of it. So, to make up for the lost money from paying increased wages, these businesses will simply raise the price of their products. And so, the cycle of minimum wage workers not being able to afford the necessities begins all over again. Firms often decide that they can get by with fewer workers instead of paying higher wages. And in my mind, fewer jobs for Americans is too high a price to pay for the ones who keep their jobs to be paid a little bit more. One last thing to consider is that opinion columnist Gurmit Curtin calculated that working 40 hours a week at $7.25 an hour earns $11,670 a year. One person working full-time and a minimum wage job is above the poverty line. In the Daily Cougar, Gurmit Curtin stated that the economy is not stable enough to handle a minimum wage increase. Recession is near future. Money, fame, and power. I believe that the minimum wage should not be increased. No matter what the minimum wage actually is, working that job won't have you keeping up with the Kardashians anyway. So let's just avoid all problems associated with raising the minimum wage and instead work on climbing that ladder. I know even Kim Kardashian could get behind that.